Today's weather update video, we're going to be talking about the severe weather threat happening across the Ozarks and as well as a little bit of the southern plains as well over for the rest of today and as well as a week through tomorrow, where we could be seeing another severe threat happening across the Ohio River Valley as well as the Appalachians. In addition to that, we also are going to have an excessive rainfall threat happening in especially areas around Missouri and Illinois, where we could be seeing the possible threat of excessive rainfall. And we're also going to be continuing going over through the tropics and going over the progress of a potentially new tropical storm forming in the Caribbean. Now we can see for today, October 18th, we do have a slight risk in effect for quite a large portion of an area. I do believe this is going to impact somewhere around 5 to 10 million people in this area. This will include all the state of Arkansas, most of Mississippi, western portions of Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky, southern Missouri, eastern Oklahoma, northern Louisiana, and northeastern Texas. And our biggest threat is literally going to be everything. So for the wind threat, we do have a 15% chance in our pre-existing slight chance. The marginal threat will extend all the way up from anywhere from the south here, all the way up to areas in Michigan. And as you know, and in this as well, we also are going to have a hail risk. Though it's much less dominant, mostly areas between, the DFW area, areas in eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and as well as southern Missouri are going to be in this. And then the tornado threat is going to be a really big threat where a 5% chance could extend anywhere from southern Missouri down through the whole state of Arkansas, down to areas in southern Louisiana. This will also impact areas, like Shreveport, Memphis as well, Little Rock. Again, this will impact probably somewhere close to around 5 million people. Day 2, we have a marginal risk also in effect throughout the mid-Atlantic as well. Areas in Pennsylvania, Maryland, the whole state of Delaware, southern New Jersey, most of West Virginia and Virginia, and as well as the northern bits of North Carolina. We also have due one down here in western Florida, near Dothan, Alabama, Mobile, Tallahassee are also going to be in there as well. Biggest threat in these areas are going to be our wind risk, where we do have a 5% chance in both. For the hail risk, we actually have no risk at all for either of these areas. And then we do have a tornado risk, specifically down here in western Florida, where we could be seeing the isolated chance of tornadoes as the storms coming from the Ozarks here are going to be moving down here throughout tomorrow. We can see that by 12 o'clock, we have areas over here in the plains, as well as a little bit of the Ozarks, moving in towards areas in Missouri and Illinois. We're going to have some quite heavy rain showers. So this will kind of be split in half. Areas typically, in this scenario, areas typically, in Oklahoma and Arkansas are probably going to be in the severe weather zone. Areas probably in Kansas and Missouri, as well as Illinois, most likely are going to be experiencing the heavy rain part of this system. As the system will move throughout the day, probably around evening time, then the severe stuff will continue to move north all the way up to St. Louis as well. Down here in Arkansas and as well as Louisiana, we're going to have isolated storms which could create isolated tornadoes and as well as hail and as well as damaging winds. When we get up north, that chance is less dominant, as we're mostly going to be seeing that heavy rain threat. But still, most things are going to be possible out of this. We move into tomorrow, we can see that this storm just then becomes a whole line of thunderstorms that is literally just going to be moving throughout the whole East Coast. Again, probably areas south of the Ohio River Valley are going to be in the severe weather threat, while areas north are probably most likely going to be in the excessive rainfall threat again. But obviously, areas up here north as well could see some severe weather as well, and areas south down here could see that excessive rainfall, very possible. For the excessive rainfall, we do have a slight risk in place over here in central Missouri, areas up to St. Louis. So really anywhere from probably at least say around Springfield to Joplin, Missouri, all the way up past St. Louis, into the interior bits of Illinois will be in this. This will impact a large section of people, though flooding in areas, especially around metropolitan areas of St. Louis, could have to deal with those flooding problems. And we don't have a slight risk at all, as really it's going to be not really dominant at all. But areas maybe around, the Mid-Atlantic, Great Lakes, and a little bit of the Northeast, and as well as a little bit of Canada, could also be in this as well. For the temperature and as well as the precipitation outlook in probably a month or two now. So, as you can see, throughout the next 6 to 10 days, most of the country is going to be above average for temperatures. Though some areas in the East Coast and as well as the West Coast could be near normal to maybe even below average throughout the next 6 to 10 days. And then throughout the next 8 to 14 days, we're going to have some cold air come back through the west coast, which will cause below than average temperatures, while this causes the rest of the country to be above average for at least the most part. Within the next 3 to 4 weeks, stuff will change, as down here in the southeast, you could actually see below than average temperatures. People in areas in like the Northeast, in and around the Midwest and Great Lakes could be above average, as well as areas on the West Pacific coast and as well as the Southwest could be seeing some above average temperatures. And then the rest of the country, so like the interior plains and as well as the Pacific Northwest, could see around near normal average. And for precipitation, over the next 6 to 10 days, areas most likely in the East Coast are going to be below average for precipitation. Areas in and around the Mid-Atlantic especially are going to be below average. And then in the West Coast, that is a very different story, where areas along the West Coast are going to be very above average for precipitation. Areas in the plains will be slightly above average, and then really anywhere else is going to be near normal average for the most part of precipitation. And then over the next 8 to 14 days, majority of the country is going to be above average for precipitation. Maybe some areas in the Northeast and as well as the Southwest may stay above average, but probably for these areas, it'll be near normal average for at least the most part. And then over the next 3 to 4 weeks, areas in the Midwest, Great Plains, as well as the Southeast, could be below average for precipitation. Maybe areas in the Southwest could be a little bit above average, but areas predominantly in the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains, and as well as the Southwest, are going to be near normal average. Areas in the Pacific Northwest will be above average, and then most of the East Coast will be near normal average. Talking about drought is actually quite a bit of an interesting story. So, areas in the East Coast have been actually dealing with a lot of drought lately. Some areas, especially within the South, are in it. Now, this is kind of like an isolated situation where some areas are extremely dry. Some areas aren't even dry at all. And, they might have had some recent rainfall, which caused them to, not be dry at all. Areas in the plains have definitely been improving since the summer. Areas in the West Coast have still been improving, like slightly, but some areas, again, are up to that extreme to even exceptional drought. Last thing I'm going to talk about is snow real quickly. We can see that for most of the part, mountains up in the Pacific Northwest are going to be either in the winter weather area, minor, moderate, or even major areas. Very high peaks such as Mount Rainier could be up to a major impact, meaning we could see a lot of snow happen up there in Mount Rainier over the next day or so. When we get down here towards Wyoming, Colorado, they're going to be less severe in terms of snow, though we still need to be careful of these. And definitely when we start getting into the winter, I'm going to be talking about this more and more often. All right, and then the last thing we're going to be talking about is the main areas off in the oceans, potential hurricane or tropical storm developments. Here we go. So, right here in the Caribbean Sea, over the next week or so, we could have a 30% chance of something to be formed here in the Caribbean. Necessarily a 30% doesn't mean it can't form. Though I will say this isn't going to really go anywhere towards the US at all. And even if it does try to, it'll probably drop some moisture at least down for at least the most part. Over here, off the coast of Mexico and Guatemala, we also have another chance of, a 20% chance over the next week. So that's going to be heading out straight out in the Pacific Ocean. And then up here, we do have one that will not be a threat to the U.S. either. Has a 10% chance over the next week. We can't really see anything, but for the most part, it could lead to some moisture happening in and around the continent of Europe, if this thing even makes it. Alright, and that's all I have for today's weather video for my channel. So if you guys like to see another weather video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Also, check out my shorts page, as I am going to be starting to make YouTube shorts about weather across the U.S. Not daily, but I'm going to make them to whenever there's like a minor severe weather outbreak that like isn't necessarily a video that I need to cover it, but a short that will cover it. So you at least get your information, even though, there's only like a marginal risk. So make sure you go on there. Also, maybe start posting on other social media pages in the later future as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.